that has been signed for 125 million and a charge being placed less than 3 weeks later for 235 million, an increase of $110 million. Does the government know exactly what this is going to cost the people? If within 3 weeks the price cannot stay steady, it can't remain steady at 125 million. You come back and add 110 million on it. And it has been a couple of months since the 11th day of January. I wonder what the price is now. It is no joking matter, but it goes to show you that you cannot trust what this government says, even when it is in black and white. When you read it, 125 million, well, the people thought, well, okay, that's it. But now we are faced with $235 million 3 weeks later. That is a government you cannot trust. You cannot sleep on them. I'm telling you, the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands, you have seen the People's Democratic Movement in operation. You've seen the good things that we have brought forward. We are not just criticizing this deal, but we are telling you we have a better alternative, a far more reasonable alternative than what this government is here offering you. And the choice for you is to choose the People's Democratic Movement and to do that soon. Because if not, there is not going to be a place left for us here in the Turks and Caicos.
Any other questions?
Honorable Mr. Salva, I was just wondering, your hospital plan you showed us from, it was 5 years ago, 5 years ago, when you first presented the, right. I'm wondering, do you think, now, given the change in scope of Turks and Caicos Islands, I know costs obviously would change now, do you think it would still be relevant for today as to compare to the current hospital?
It's twice the size of the current hospital.
Just to show you the relevance of what we were offering 5 years ago. We were planning for something that would have lasted us at least 20, 25 years. And we were looking at 98 beds. 98 beds 5 years ago. And you would think that 5 years later, they would at least keep that 98 beds or look at increasing it. They have reduced it to just 60 beds. 60 beds. And we're looking at a cost from 400, as I said earlier, $418,000 per bed to now $3,916,666 a bed. And 67 cents. That is what we're faced with. And I'm quite sure that the technology that we were going to have in the hospitals, you see, the thing is they haven't outlined their plan. What we were going to offer is here in these documents in black and white. The government is yet to come to the people and let them see what they're going to get for almost $4 million a bed. We have the documents here, what we could have shown everybody, open and transparent, exactly what they were going to get for their $418,000 a bed compared to what this government is now coming up with, almost $4 million a bed. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I have a few, but I think I'm going to limit it to just one for now. Because they all sort of have to do the same thing. Now, you mentioned Salt Key and how everybody came together in Salt Key. I've been to Salt Key several times. I like Salt Key quite a lot. Very small community. And I think it's one of the places that still has a sense of community in the Turks and Caicos. Having lived here a long time, I wasn't born here as many of you were, but you guys have obviously been here longer. I think throughout the Turks and Caicos we're losing a sense of community. And you can blame the government for a lot of stuff, but basically the people have the final say in the end, and I think that the lack of people complaining individually here and there. They might tell you, they might tell me. They're not telling the people they need to be telling. Maybe they're afraid, you know what I mean? But they're not banding together. I think. Do you feel like we're losing our sense of family and community throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands? And do you have any ideas on how we might help solve that problem if it is a problem?
Yes, I fully agree with you that there has been some level of a significant level of erosion in the sense of community that we've all grown to expect in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And while I understand your point that you can't blame the government for everything and that people have to take responsibility, but when you promote a culture of materialism and when you promote a culture of worrying about things rather than people, that's a culture that starts from the top and people follow. When I'm more concerned about my vehicle than my next door neighbor, those things lead to a breakdown in our society. For years, whether you proclaim to be a born-again Christian or not, we've had a society of people that have understood that the Turks and Caicos was a Christian country and that we subscribe to Christian principles. And there's a general fear of God, fear in the sense of reverence of God. When you have ministers of government and the leader of our country can say to ministers of religion, you run the church and I'll run the country, as to be completely dismissive of any advice or concern that they may have. And when you continue to push this facet or this of separation of church and state, and where you don't want any church involvement in the governance, you lead the country down that path. So government does have to take some responsibility. I am not going to say that they are totally responsible, but they do have to take some responsibility because of their actions. Now, as a country where you had a government, I believe, that promoted family values, that had policies that ensured that people spent more time together, where people could earn more, and rather than having to work 2 and 3 jobs, parents could actually get off at a decent hour and spend time with their families and with rearing their children, because their day job is sufficient to take care of their families. I believe that helps with promoting good moral character in future generations of Turks and Caicos Islanders. When you have policies that provide for some